Please welcome Ann Casey.
To live in a human body is a rare gift. Let's make the most of it. Better health comes from improving our inner awareness. I'd like to share with all of you two concepts that are having a great influence towards improving our inner awareness and decreasing pain in our bodies and giving us more freedom in our range of motion. The first involves a form of body work called Rolfing structural integration and the wonderful world of fascia. And the second involves movement therapy. Movement therapy was developed by, there's many different modalities of movement, but one that I'm dear to my heart is developed by Moshe Feldenkrais. It helps to replace old movement patterns with new options. We have habitual patterns that are in our bodies due to trauma, due to falling out of a tree when we were 12, whatever the situation is, sitting in desks for too many years. And what movement therapy can do for you is break up those old patterns in your body. Now, we're not focused or thinking about creating or replacing an old pattern with a new pattern. All we're simply wanting to do is give our bodies the options for a new way of moving. And with movement therapy, the premise is that the nervous system learns from the least amount of stimulus. So the slower that you do a movement, the more time that the nervous system has to be able to recognize what it's moving well and what it doesn't move well and change that. So movement is simply for the sake of movement. Rolf method of structural integration. From my perspective, as a wellness practitioner, I have worked with many people suffering from various kinds of physical and mental pain, the kinds that we all experience as human beings. On most occasions, bodywork and movement therapy or movement classes were substantial, if not a vital part, in increasing or improving our inner awareness. These positive changes were due to the cumulative process of getting to know their own bodies and feeling empowered with their own health. Since I've been doing this work, I've come to understand that as a practitioner, I am simply a facilitator, that the body itself is what does the fixing. I also realize that developing my skills as a good listener and learning that neck pain is related to the plantar fascia of the feet or the bottom of your feet help to heal and create new ways of moving with long-term chronic pain patterns. Learning to hold the tissue or the muscles in the correct place and asking for movement is part of being a practitioner of Rolfing structural integration. And also looking at the body as a whole instead of made up of a bunch of parts is just about all it takes to peel back the layers of chronic pain. Over the years, similarities began to emerge, no matter who the person was or what they chose to do for a living, or how they exercised or what sports they played. Understanding the moms, the dads, the grandparents, and the pro athlete and the off-the-couch athlete, doctors, physical therapists, psychiatrists, doesn't matter. They all need one simple thing: more self-awareness. We can all benefit from being introduced to ourselves and to understand the premise that our bodies are more interconnected than anatomy books like to show. Understanding that pain is in the low back is related to how we stand with our weight distributed through our feet, affects the weight in the knees and in the hips, and it goes on up through the body. Here's some pictures of some fascia here. Fascia is connective tissue and it surrounds every cell in our body. It's like a web, and if one area of the body is tight or stuck, it will affect the body in other places. Ida Rolf used to say, "Where you think it is, it ain't." Rolfing structural integration breaks up those adhesions that form in the fascia. So, let me show you some pictures, some more fascia here. The neck forward and the rib cage back. Here's a classic photograph session of a Rolfing 10 series. We can't get it all done in one session. So what happens is Rolfers and structural integrators don't chase symptoms. We're looking at the big picture. And this is a photograph taken of a man at the first session and at the end of every single session. You can see how his body changed in the 10 sessions of Rolfing. I want to tell you guys about a client of mine named Bill. He came in complaining of chronic pain throughout his entire body. In his younger years, he had been the United States weightlifting champion for his weight division. For years, he had no longer been able to go through a day without taking pain medications. He had a history of old injuries that had taken their toll. He had gone to the Mayo Clinic and seen many doctors. And as he came into my office, one thing that we have people do when you're going through the Rolfing process is standing, and we take a look at you, and it tells us where and what to do, because we're not symmetrical and we don't treat every single body the same way. We don't treat the right side exactly as we treat the left. So we had him stand, I had him stand, and looking at him, he looked great. And that's what his comment was when he had seen all the doctors over the period of his life, is that they really couldn't understand why he was in so much pain. He looked so healthy. He looked really confident and put together. And really what I noticed was that he was standing in a state of constant contraction. He was standing and his body was so contracted as if he was lifting weights while he was standing there. And this is what he did every day, every hour, everywhere. Whether he was standing in line at the grocery store or whether he was mountain biking, whatever it was, while he was sleeping, he was contracted. And that's the case with a lot of people. So with going through the process of movement lessons and Rolfing, when he we were able to work together and create change in his tissue, he was able to recognize when his nervous system was just had done too much movement or had been in too many habitual patterns, and he was able to change that. Gravity is something of really the therapists that we're working with. And Ida Rolf, the developer of Rolfing structural integration, made that very clear. So here's some photographs. This is before and after sessions. The woman obviously on the left here, you can see how she started, and you can see her neck is forward, and she is, you can see that as her rib cage, her pelvis is not horizontal to the earth, if you will. You can see that it's changed. I'm going to do this, but I don't want you to change the thing. So you can see how her pelvis has changed from here to here. It's more horizontal after the 10th session. This man here looks like he's going off a ski jump before he started. And then you can see how with the sessions he was able to come more into alignment with the hips being over the knees, being over the ankles, and the head's able to come back. I'd like to talk a little bit more about what this looks like here. He's coming and maybe perhaps presenting with neck pain. And in the premise that we are not parts, that we don't look and chase symptoms as a structural integration practitioner. What we're doing here is we're looking at his neck being forward, and if you'd like to get out of long-term chronic neck pain, we've got to look at where the rib cage is. So if the rib cage is tilted down, and it's coming from this place, and it's knitted down to his pubic bone in the front, you've got to deal with getting the rib cage back so that we can get the head back and create and relieve some of his chronic long-term pain patterns. So our bodies are in a chronic state of contraction. Most of us don't even know it. We can eat the best diet, we can be in the best shape, we can breathe the cleanest air and drink the purest water. But if we're constricted on the inside, our cells will not only be not nourished, they will not recover properly. When we are active, our muscle cells create toxins, and those toxins go into the extracellular fluid. But if we're super constricted, we're not able to move good nutrients to those cells, and we're not able to flush those toxins out of the body. And what happens with those cells and all the thickening is stiffness happens, the tissue becomes hardened, and pain receptors activate and start to fire off. Pain is referred elsewhere, or it can also just simply be localized. We take drugs to mask those symptoms, and the cycle of hardening our bodies and hardening our tissues continues. Weeks turn into months, and months turn into years, and we all call this old age. Stiffness is expected. We become slower moving, and we find ourselves in pain. The body's pain complaints become louder, and more painkillers are then taken. We live in a culture of fix me. Many of us believe that our health care is out of our hands. We've all been given instructions on how to. We've read the magazines, we've watched Oprah, we've tried the cortisone shots, we've bought the orthotics, and some of us have even stopped going barefoot. Still, so many of us are still in pain and struggling. So, what's a premise here is that the truth is that you can only fix you. Doctors in medicine and emergency rooms and surgery, they all have their place, but ultimately prevention is the best medicine. Ida Rolf was known for saying, if you start with grandpa's premises, you'll get grandpa's answers. The good news is that we're experiencing long-term changes resulting from quality body work and movement therapies. We are ready for a new conversation about our health and our bodies. There are many paths to improving inner awareness. However you choose to do it, whichever modality speaks out to you, I'd like to encourage you to reach out for help. Rolfing, Feldenkrais movement, massage, acupuncture, naturopathic medicine, physical therapy, chiropractic. There are lots of ways and avenues available. Improved health and happiness begins with respect, trust, kindness, and affection towards ourselves. So what I'd like to leave you all with is the idea of starting where you are, loving yourself, and live your life as if life is a rare gift that it is. Positive thoughts and positive attitudes towards others and yourself will bring more happiness and better health. Think of your bodies as not being a sum of parts, but instead it's more interconnected. Improve the quality of your life by quieting the nervous system, scanning the bodies for muscle contraction, and allowing the body to soften itself. Muscles are like melted butter hanging off the bones. Don't exercise while you're sleeping. Keep moving, slow, small, and no pain. Explore movements that quiet the body, allowing the body to recognize where the restrictions lie, and allow the body to organize itself. Get moving on improving your inner awareness. Thank you.